At the time I made this video, unfortunately, I did not know there was a sale coming up on this OLO storage tower. And as soon as I found out, I put the video off until today so I could let you know about that. But I also know you're going to ask some other questions. And I did try fitting an OLO marker in here and a Copic chow. The Copic chow is a little on the loose side. It's just a little loose, but it would work for those. And the OLO is ever so slightly tight, but it does fit. OLOs just have a little bit of a nub on the cap that makes them a little tight of a fit. But this could be a good storage solution if you just have a small number of pens that you want to put in this. But the Copic Sketch and the Copic Regular do not fit in this tower. All right, let's get started on the video, shall we?
Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Sandy Allnock and I am an artist, and I'm excited to report that so far I am keeping up on my daily phenology journal. Yes, me, I am doing it. I am bringing it. I'm bringing fire. And I may not have made it through a full month yet, but I am making progress at daily nature journaling. And if you have not heard of phenology, then go watch my January 1st video about phenology, and you too might get excited about it. I want to talk about something related but different. And the related is that it's daily sketching. I recommend daily sketching to anybody in any medium. And I'm not talking about huge works of art every day. It can be a 5 or 10 minute sketch, something really small, but drawn from real life is going to get you further than drawing from photography. I also want to talk about ways to make those subjects more exciting to draw that hopefully will make your daily drawing practice more interesting. Before I get rolling on the drawing, let me tell you quickly about my OLO Marker Tower. They launched this about a month and a half ago, sent me one, and it is so cool. It's for OLO markers only, unless your markers happen to be the same size as these, and they fit nice and snugly in there. 64 markers, and since I do half markers, I can have 128 colors showing at any given moment. In the top section, there's just a little divot here where you can put, I don't know, some extra nibs, some refills, some connectors, whatever you want up in there. And then I have a separate mug that has a few colors that didn't fit. There were 3 of them that didn't fit up there, plus this one. And I got one of their handles just to see if that was great to draw with. And so it's just kind of sitting there. And I put my black markers in here as well. And then on top of that, these are my marker set. I have a curated marker set. If you want to just get started, this will give you a really good collection of them to begin with. So let's move on to the photograph now. This is an apple, obviously, and I was going to just draw it sitting on a table and decided to make it more exciting. And you can do this with any subject you've got going. I cut a slice out of it. I sprayed it with water. I put it near some really strong lights, both an overhead light that you can see right now and a light on the left. Then I turned the overhead light off, and look at the shadows that I suddenly got. And I have stronger highlights because of it. It may not all be super bright because of that bright light being gone, but I moved my phone around just looking at all the different parts of the apple to see what interested me. And that's what you want to do when you start doing a daily sketching practice. And I tell everybody, do more daily sketching. That's the one absolutely sure certain thing that I know will improve your art. Whether you ever plan on making art on blank paper, if you're just somebody who colors other things, if you just sit and draw things on the table in front of you, you'll learn how to do the shading on that thing, whether it's a coffee cup or an apple or whatever. So when you're choosing your subject, it can be anything boring around the house. Like literally, the more boring, almost the better, because you want something where you can just disengage your brain and say, what do I see in front of me? Not what do I think I see? Because that's the biggest problem with most artists, is that we think we know something and we really honestly don't. We have no idea. When I was in college, a professor on our very first day of our drawing class, walked in the room. We were all already seated. She told us to draw an apple. And then she sat down. She didn't say anything else. And we all looked at each other and we drew the best apples we knew how. I mean, we were college students. We supposedly knew what we were doing, a little bit at least, as art majors. And we drew terrible apples, honestly. One person tried to draw the perfect outline. I was putting shading in mine. Some other kid drew like an apple with a worm that I think it had either like big teeth or fangs. You know, there's always that kid. But anyway, she walked around the room with a great look of disgust on her face looking at our drawings. Didn't say anything, but then she pulled out a bag of apples and set one down on the table in front of each of us and said, "Now, I said, draw me an apple." And she sat back down. And we drew fantastic apples. I will never forget that lesson. And never. And I've repeated it here on YouTube countless times too. So sorry if you're tired of hearing it. But yes, drawing from real life is going to make a difference. And in this day and age right now, if you go looking for an apple reference on Google, you will undoubtedly come up with, because I did it, you will come up with a whole bunch of fake apples. And by that, I mean AI apples, because AI is taking over the Google machine. And you can look at one of those and think you're seeing something real, but your brain has been trained by like fancy movies and Disney CGI and stuff. It's trained you to think that something fake is real. And unless you start really looking at real life, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. And it's not going to take very long for that transition to happen for everybody. It's one of my bigger fears about AI is that people are forgetting what real looks like. Like there's so many memes going around with pictures of like real people, and AI can get their faces right and put them in completely crazy situations so that people don't know what's real anymore. And as an artist, you need to be able to know whether you're working from AI or if you're working from an actual reference that you can trust. And real life is going to do that for you. So here, when I wanted to draw this apple, I could have just made it a plain old boring apple, but that gets boring, especially after you do your daily practice all the time. And apples are like a nice, easy, simple thing to draw. If you don't have a slice taken out of them and you don't have water droplets on them, not like a round thing, and you can get used to the idea of drawing shadows on round things. But it's more exciting as well as more artistically educational to light it properly. And it doesn't even have to be like fancy professional lights. Put it next to a lamp. Put it next to a window, somewhere where you're going to have a strong light source and where you can control it as well. Turn the apple around different directions and see where you get the most interesting highlights and shadows. On this one, I loved the bounce light that I captured. On the left side, you can see it's kind of a grayish red shadow. And then on the bottom right side, that is also bounce light. I had some trouble capturing the colors of those two, and I had to fix it kind of at the end with desaturating it because they're more grayed out colors. But those are places where the light hits the table. It hits the piece of paper that I had put the apples on and then bounces back up. So you're getting this reflected light hitting it. Now, it's something that most normal people, when you're just looking at an apple on a table, would never notice it. But once you start looking for those things, you'll notice it. And then when you see AI, you're going to see AI miss that. They're just going to put a fully colored apple, with all the red color all the way down to the bottom, and they're going to miss those little subtleties. They're going to miss the subtleties where the shape of the apple isn't just round. It's got some knobs and bumps in it. It's going to miss all of that stuff that makes an apple real. And it's the same for any subject, especially people. Like, it can't even count fingers. So I want you to just pay attention to the things that are around you, but make them more interesting. Instead of just drawing that lamp in the corner of the living room for the umpteenth time, turn the lamp on, or, go put a light right next to it where you can highlight one side of the lamp, where you can make maybe that metal base of it make it have some shine to it that you can capture the shine. That's much more interesting than just drawing the simple shapes. Now, you might be at a place where just capturing the simple shapes is more than enough, and that's great. But I highly recommend just making all of the things around you more interesting by really, 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 really looking at them. So for this apple, I'm really looking at the shapes of each of those shadows. The place where that shadow on the right-hand side came down and met the bounce light. The shapes of some of these water droplets. Now, I was actually drawing from the apple on my table, not drawing from the one that was on my computer that was only there as a backup if there was something I couldn't really see in the apple itself. But the water drops kept moving because they were evaporating and dripping. So I just put water droplets wherever I wanted. But I was trying to look at what I could learn from these water droplets because they were behaving in ways that the rules, quote unquote, rules about water droplets don't actually follow. Like that, it doesn't make sense because I was always taught by a million YouTube videos that there's a highlight on the light side and then there's a light that goes through the water and hits the back side of the water drop to brighten it. And yes, sometimes that does happen, but it depends on the angle the light is from the water droplet. And until I did this apple, I didn't realize like the things that I was seeing in other water droplets. So applying your rules that you know, the quote unquote art rules, doesn't always work. This droplet in particular, the one that's on the lightest area, follows totally different rules than everything else because there is no drop shadow behind it because of the angle of the light that's hitting it. I mean, it was kind of eye-opening to me that even from a simple apple, I could learn so much. And I could apply so much of what I already knew. And if you're coming at it without a lot of knowledge, you won't have that to bring with you, but eventually you will. And it'll keep growing as you keep doing a daily practice. Now, a lot of times I love my early mornings when I get up, I'm in my PJs, I'm wearing my bathrobe, I'm all snug, I'm drinking the hot chocolate, and the dogs are kind of still quiet because they don't really get up and play too much really early. And I can sit in the studio for 15 minutes to a half an hour and just do a quick drawing. Sometimes it's in pencil, sometimes it's in markers or watercolors or something. But I try to do just a little something for me every day that I don't have to film. And it's based on something that Jared Callum said in one of his videos once. He was talking about having a daily practice for especially people who are like nervous about other people seeing their work and making fun of them. He said, just get a sketchbook that's only for you. No one will see it. Because you can experiment with things and no one's going to see it. You don't have to show that sketchbook to any other soul on earth. You can burn it when you're done. And it gives you the freedom to just do whatever and learn something rather than thinking, well, this is wrong. Don't worry about whether it's wrong, just do it. And those early mornings are oftentimes when I do stuff that doesn't make it anywhere else. Some of that stuff does not make it on my daily sketches page on my fine art website, which if you want to go see what my daily practice looks like, you can go there. But sometimes I'll just post things that I'm already posting on YouTube and that sort of thing, just to help people get notified that I have a new video out. But a lot of times it's just a little doodle I did, a little drawing, a little something. And those kind of small practices are the things that get your reps in. And you don't want the first time that you practice, say, drawing people to be the time that you get commissioned to draw a person. Like, you don't want your first animal commission to be the first time you've drawn that animal. You want to have some reps in. You want to have some practice in. And daily sketching will do that. I recommend actually doing it in just a graphite pencil because that gets you started thinking about the values. And look at this apple. I've got really dark values in some of the shadow areas, very pale light values in other areas. And the skin or the skin difference being dark and the flesh difference being so light is a really big shift between the two. And in graphite, it's a good challenge to a new artist to just start to learn what those differences are and to think in terms of value. You can take any reference that you're working from, or if you are drawing from real life, like I'm suggesting, take a photo of it and turn it black and white. And then really sit and assess the object itself and start to try to get your brain to think about that object in black and white. And you can refer to the one on your phone in black and white, in between, but try to look at the object and start to see the shadows and the highlights and where the midtones are and how much of a midtone is it? Is it a 20%, a 30%, a 60%, a 70%? Because there's a whole range that are going to help you to get realism. And no matter what kind of artist you are, no matter what you're doing, that kind of basic practice every day is going to make a huge difference. I mean, if you think about going to the gym, everybody's thinking about going to the gym in January, and going to the gym once every 6 weeks is not going to get you anywhere. Going once a week will help a good bit, but going 3 times a week, 4 times a week, or every day, you're going to bulk up quick. The more daily drawing you do, the better off you're going to be. I do have a 30 Days to More Confident Sketching class that would be a great start if you need just something to help you. But you can do that yourself. Just do your own 30-day challenge. I'll link to the class down below if you're interested. And I'll also link to my daily sketches page if you want to see that. But really, I just want to get it through your head that drawing every day doesn't have to be scary. You don't have to show it to anybody. You don't have to post it online. Just do your reps. Because if you're wondering, why am I not improving very quickly in my art? That is a lot of why. Because you're not doing it often enough. Anything you want to learn, you have to do it often enough to make a difference, or you're not going to get anywhere with it. Because you're just going to be relearning the same things every single time you sit down to do that thing. Crocheting, everything takes practice to get better at it. And art is one of those where you can literally do just 10, 15 minutes a day and see vast improvement. Now, with all these marker colors, I was just layering them and practicing to see what would get me to the kind of red that I wanted. There are some things that I didn't do really great, and I had to go back and fix them. That droplet kept getting bigger and bigger the more I tried to get the value right on it. Out of many, many apples I have drawn throughout decades and decades and decades, this is probably the most interesting apple I've ever drawn, because I never thought to cut a slice out of it. But once I did, I'm thinking I'm going to be cutting all of my fruit open before I do sketches of it. I'm going to be adapting a lot more of my subjects in order to make them more interesting, because this one made me sit down and want to do another drawing. That's what you want. You want to get to the point where you get so excited about making art that you can't wait for the next one. So if you start out with 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour of drawing, sometimes it'll turn into more. I won't promise that you can stop at that point, but it's going to make your practice of drawing easier and more interesting if you start thinking outside the box instead of drawing a simple, plain, boring thing. Make it more exciting. Spray water on it. What the heck, right? And you too can start to make more realistic looking drawings. I hope this video has helped you to decide you're ready for a daily drawing practice. And if you've already got one and it's gotten boring, I hope I gave you some ideas to make it more interesting. Feel free to join me on my journey in any of the links down in the doobly-doo down below. Supplies are also listed there. And I will see you again very, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.